Zhao Liying and Wang Chengcheng sang The Breeze Blows Pinellia together. Zhao Liying and Wang Chengcheng sang The Breeze Blows Pinellia on the phase of the 2023 Web General Media Yearly Function. Numerous netizens said that Su Bangsha and Shen Yulai were back once more. All the bitterness from watching this show before was mended on this stage. All in all, this show was great last year. Albeit many individuals deny its prevalence, yet having said that, it is clear initially regardless of whether the show is famous. Some netizens likewise said that Zhao Liying had recently featured in the television series joined a huge number of families, and their group went to the Beijing Spring Celebration function. How can it be that Zhao Liying is the only one ready? The Breeze Blows Pinellia. For what reason are just she and Zhao Chen singing the signature tune here? This comment is a piece provocative. Whether it is joined a huge number of families or The Breeze Blows Pinellia are Zhao Liying's works, the length of she appears, she is her own business card representative, and there is compelling reason need to isolate her works. Moreover, the blend of Su Bangsha and Shen Yulai duplicates the style of The Breeze Blows Pinellia. Isn't it additionally a general media feast? Frankly, the fellowship between Su Bangsha and Shen Yulai truly made individuals cry. Indeed, even presently, thinking back on the scenes in the plot, individuals are still vastly moved. Since they got overwhelmed with emotion and conquered troubles in the play, and through difficult work, they showed us the promising and less promising times of the enterprising years. Mulling over everything, it is likewise a great memory. Zhao Liying is certainly not an expert vocalist, she is only a diligent and lively entertainer. The justification for why she sings in front of an audience is because of the gift of the work and the award of her diligent effort in the previous year. These cycles have been given by the crowd and the stage. In short, some netizens consistently utilize the expert abilities of an expert vocalist to ask her, which is definitely out of line. At any rate, she stepped on the stage and really considered standing up, which is sufficient to show that she is buckling down for the stage and has made every one of the arrangements. However long she carries positive substance to the crowd, whether she is on a major stage or a little stage, or in a film or television series, she ought to be given positive and objective assessment and appreciation. Moreover, Zhao Liying is without a doubt a frantic entertainer. From beginning as a low-level supporting job to turning into a first-rate entertainer now, this sort of difficult work is to sparkle somewhat more, to enlighten more individuals. Concerning Chen Yui's entertainer Wang Chengcheng, his presentation in The Breeze Blows Pinellia has a level of unwinding and is pretty much as splendid as different entertainers. He is on a similar stage with Zhao Liying, and he merits his name, as it ought to be. Some netizens obtusely said that seeing Zhao Liying and Wang Chengcheng singing The Breeze Blows Pinellia together, this is the genuine successful transmission. The fame of The Breeze Blows Pinellia has not decreased. Zhao Liying and different entertainers in the play went to the CCTV Spring Celebration occasion, which shows that CCTV additionally gave extraordinary assertion. At the end of the day, the stage knows regardless of whether the show is a hit, and the crowd's eyes are likewise knowing, and they comprehend it plainly. Regardless of how much certain individuals stomp all over it, hit shows are as yet hit dramatizations, and Zhao Liying is as yet the crowd's #1 entertainer. Zhao Liying. This is a reality that can't be changed. I trust that Zhao Liying's new show in 2023 will keep on being out of the circle, and keep on making more hit dramatizations. At this moment, we can anticipate Xing Fengxing featuring her. 02. Understanding of the 9 subtleties of no name, the Duke was killed. Truly, Wang Yibo and Jiang Shuying have a profound foundation. No Name is a government-operative conflict film with a somewhat great verifiable foundation. On the off chance that it is made into a 50-episode television series, I accept that the 9 primary characters can likewise uphold the plot. The film limit is restricted, so No Name picked one of incalculable covert operative conflict stories as the center of the film, which gathers the plot and furthermore brings in effect. A few watchers may not grasp specific subtleties. This article makes sense of the 9 subtleties of No Name exhaustively, wanting to assist the crowd with figuring out the film. For the accommodation of perusers, the old technique is to utilize the entertainer's name to address the job. Who caused them to have no name? 1. For what reason did Wang Chuanjun kill Zhang Jinggai? Toward the start of No Name, Wang mannequin spy Wang Chuanjun told another government operative Wang Yibo a story he heard. Japanese fighter Yoshikawa used to be a rancher. He signed up with the military and followed the Japanese armed force to Wuhan. They broke into a gold shop. Remove everything, kindly extra his 2 girls. The Japanese armed force removed every one of the assets, yet in addition offended the businessperson's 2 girls, lastly tossed the group of her into the well. This is the mental portending for Wang Chuanjun to kill Zhang Jinggai. In the event that Zhang Jinggai was not an underground specialist, depending on her relationship with Wang Yibo, Wang Chuanjun could never challenge to make it happen. In any case, Wang Chuanjun figured out that Zhang Jingyi was a specialist, so he considered offending the lovely Zhang Jingyi by ideals of his character, lastly killed her. Afterward, Wang Chuanjun needed to kill Wang Yibo, and afterward utilized Zhang Jingyi's personality to pardon himself. However, Wang Yibo killed him, all things considered. Wang Yibo is the proprietor, Zhang Jingyi is the proprietor's girl, and Wang Chuanjun is the Japanese officer. Wang Chuanjun likewise views himself as a champion somewhere down in his heart, who can do anything he desires. This is a debased swindler mindset. 2. Leave dimness and go to light. Tony Leung went to the lodging to examine Wang Lei. An inquiry befuddled Wang Lei, yet additionally confounded the crowd. This question was, the reason did you leave the dull and go to the splendid? Wang Lei was confused because in his mind, how could a defection from the underground to the traitorous Wang false regime be considered abandoning the dark side to the light? Isn't that the opposite? The audience is confused because they suddenly can't tell what the identities of Liying and Wang Lei are. In fact, the Wang false regime was very good at self-deception. They usually curved to save the country to brainwash others as well as themselves. The reason for Wang Lei's defection. Faced with Tony Leung's question, Wang Lei was at a loss for words. He gave an answer about going home to farm. Why did he suddenly fail to answer at this point? Nameless does a very good job of suspense and padding, and the subsequent episode shows that Wang Lei says the same paragraph about going home to farm when he wants to take Zhao Sun away. Apparently, for Wang Lei, he was initially just scared by the Japanese reprisal massacre and was ready to run away but did not want to leave Zhao Sun, whom he had spent so much time with, and wanted to take her with him. But not only did Zhao Sun disagree, she told Wang Lei that she had a husband. Wang Lei's fragile heart crumbled and his emotional collapse led him to the opposite choice of mutiny. The problem is that it is humiliating enough for a senior agent of no lesser status to make a fool of himself about his partner. It is even more humiliating to choose to defect because he has been rejected by someone else, so Wang Lei cannot answer for a moment. 4. Liying interrogates the head of the military intelligence station. Liying's identity is that of a high-ranking official of Wang's secret service. In history, these people were basically defectors from the Central Committee and the military intelligence in the past, and they knew both Huang and Jiang very well, so they were very strategic in their counterattack and interrogation. When confronted with the captured head of the Nanjing station of the military intelligence, Liying's first interrogation strategy was to label Jiang as a local power and count Wang Jingwei as a central power, as he was, after all, in possession of Nanjing. The second interrogation tactic was their mastery of the curve to save the country, with Wang acting as a so-called barrier between the Japanese and the Chinese. It must be said that Liying's interrogation tactics were so clever that the head of the military intelligence station was swayed. The details came when the Japanese Secret Service chief, Hiroyuki Mori, who was standing behind Leung, saw that the interrogation was basically complete and he turned around and walked out, and Leung immediately changed his tone without showing his face to the head of the junta. You can also think about it again. Although the junta and the underground were also rivals, in front of the Japanese army, we were all comrades in arms. The interrogation of Jiang Shuying. The opening lines of Liying's interrogation of Jiang Shuying are exactly the same as those of the interrogation of the head of the Nanjing military intelligence station, which shows that his method of interrogation is a design technique, and it would probably be the same for anyone else. Of course, this also shows that Liying's attitude towards the interrogation of Jiang Shuying is that he is not doing his job. After all, Jiang's background is quite deep. 6. Jiang's background. The prototype of Jiang Shuying is the famous historical female agent Zhang Pinru. According to this prototype of the film and television drama characters, such as Lust and Caution in the Wang Jiazi, Tang Wei, and Women's Rangers in the Lin Man Yun, He Qing, plus Jiang Shuying, beautiful women, in line with the real image of Zhang Pinru. Zhang Pinru was of mixed Chinese and Japanese descent. Her family had a certain status in Shanghai and she herself had become a celebrity by appearing on the cover of a magazine. As she spoke fluent Japanese and was familiar with Japan, she was favored by many in Japan, including the head of the Japanese Secret Service, Colonel Katayama. In addition, Zhang had also been involved with the son of Japanese Prime Minister Fumimi Kanoha, so it is not surprising that Jiang Shuying provided Liying with a copy of the booklet Records of Japanese Dignitaries in Shanghai nameless, whether it came from Osamu Katayama or from Fumitaka Kanoha. The historical Zhang Pangai approached the head of Wang's secret service, Ding Mochuan, to assassinate him. After failing to escape, she tried to sneak up on him with her own strength, but was unfortunately detected by Ding Mochuan and was later killed in a barren field. The detail that Jiang Shuying's target in Nameless was the minister played by Dapan, who said she couldn't bear to do it, comes not from Zhang Panru but from Wang Jiazi in Lust, Caution. Did Jiang die in the end? Some viewers think she was saved by Tony Leung, but that's just a nice thought. In fact, the ending of a character like Jiang Shuying, who has a clear historical archetype, usually does not go against history. Besides, Liying himself is too dangerous to risk his own life to hitchhike to save a female agent of the Chinese Communist Party with a complicated identity background, and he is not allowed to conduct such a big operation without a directive from his superiors, which is the iron rule of underground work. VI. Ishihara Faction. Japanese Secret Service Chief Hiroyuki Mori was based on the same Colonel Katayama who had a close relationship with Zhang Pinru, so in Nameless he discussed with Tony Leung about wanting to spare Jiang Shuying. Mori Hiroyuki mentioned several times in the film that he was a member of the Ishihara faction of the Japanese military, not the Tojo faction. This historical detail is very important and it is difficult to understand the character of Mori Hiroyuki without understanding this. The soul of the Ishihara faction was Ishihara Kanl, who was responsible for planning the September 18th incident. His long-term plan was to occupy and consolidate Manchuria, and then use it as a base from which to move northwards to cooperate with the German attack on the Soviet Union, and southwards to encroach on China. When the July 7th incident broke out in 1937, Ishihara opposed the expansion of the war against China, but Japanese Army Minister Sugiyama claimed that the problem would be solved in 3 months, and as a result, the Japanese army fell deeper and deeper into China. Ishihara had an arch-rival, Tojo Hideki, who despised Tojo and called him Private Tojo. Strategic planning between the two men was also contradictory, so naturally the Ishihara faction and the Tojo faction were also rivals. It was because Mori Hiroyuki was a Ishihara faction that he supported Dappen, a wall rider, to represent Chengcheng and make peace with the Japanese, a detail that was so important that it could not be done without a clear explanation. Moreover, Mori Hiroyuki preferred to go to the northeast for development, as that was the strategic base that the Ishihara faction had always insisted on. VIE. The murder of the Duke. The central point of the story of Nameless is the murder of a Japanese duke, a real duke, whose family was a Japanese nobleman, and although his status was that of a common soldier, he was not a fake, but very high indeed. It was not uncommon for Japanese nobles to be soldiers in this way. The British royal family did it too. The difference was just that some nobles were real soldiers and some were just for show. There was a Baron Ichi Nishitake in Japan who was an Olympic equestrian champion and ended up dying on Iwo Jima. In history, Zhang Pinru once planned to kidnap the son of Japanese Prime Minister Konoha Fumitaka, in an attempt to use his son's life to force Konoha to stop the war, but Zhang Pinru got drunk with Konoha Fumitaka only to receive orders to abandon the plan, and Zhang Pinru changed the kidnapping to a date without arousing suspicion from the other side. If we look at it this way, the Duke in the film may be based on Fumitaka Kono. In Nameless, Jiang Shuying sends the VIP book she has to Liying Zhao, who learns of the Duke's existence according to the book. He immediately sends the information, and his superiors arrange for Wang Lei and other underground comrades to intercept the Duke in a car with a machine gun, killing the entire Duke's team on the beach. The Duke's death enraged the Japanese aristocracy and the top brass in Shanghai, who abandoned their peace talks plot with the Chengcheng side. Under pressure, Mori Hiroyuki chose not to cut open his stomach to give thanks but to massacre the underground as a way to answer to his superiors. So, the murder of the Duke was indeed a serious matter, but the fact that the underground used their lives to foil the conspiracy of secret talks between Wang, Jiang and Japan was also a strange feat. 9. Wang Yibo's background. Wang Yibo's persona in No Name makes some viewers confused. He is young, usually in a suit, looks to be the same as Wang Chuanjun, Wang's small secret agent, can figure out why Liying is willing to sacrifice himself to make Wang Yibo whole. The reason lies in the fact that Wang Yibo's background is much deeper. Wang Yibo's prototype is Wang Jinyuan, Wang Jinwei's secretary. He is of mixed Chinese and Japanese descent and is very sociable in appearance. Wang Yibo in Nameless speaks Japanese fluently, and presumably his persona is also mixed with Chinese and Japanese. Because of his better origins and the trust of his superiors, he was also very much in the hands of Wang Jingwei, and when he got angry, he went to beat up Japanese soldiers to relieve his anger, and at most he was put in solitary confinement. He sacrificed himself to help Wang Yibo get to the top. After taking over from Liying Yibo, Wang Yibo gained a higher level of trust, and when Merloi wanted to take him to his post in the Pseudo-Manchu Kuo, he even showed him the deployment map of the Guangdong army. Why was such an important document obtained by the underground? One of the major reasons is that the two characters, Jiang Shuying and Wang Yibo, have extremely deep backgrounds themselves. Knowing all these details of the film, it won't be a hassle to watch Nameless.